Welcome to this Esko Software Solution Demonstration series, and in this episode we will be covering ArtiosCAD Enterprise and more specifically how to create templates to set up new jobs. All participants have been muted, and at the end of this demonstration we will unmute for question and answer. My name is Bart Meersschaert and I will be your host today. So again, a quick definition first of what is ArtiosCAD Enterprise. Well, ArtiosCAD Enterprise, compared to the regular version ArtiosCAD, offers a centralized web-accessible database. That database is powered by our WebCenter solution. ArtiosCAD Enterprise provides secure 24/7 worldwide access to all your CAD projects, assets, and information. More importantly, it also enables online collaboration between your CAD department and any other stakeholder in your company or your supplier side. Non-ArtiosCAD Enterprise structural designers can access the solution via a web browser or a modern-day tablet. And you can see what that looks like here on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, here you can see what the structural designer would be looking at in ArtiosCAD Enterprise. It is scalable. It's a great solution for companies with multiple locations, giving them the opportunity to centralize files and collaborate on design projects from anywhere in the world at any time. It's secure, protected by a username and password. ArtiosCAD Enterprise offers a great set of features to manage your revisions and versions, as you can see here. Again, accessible to all stakeholders, CAD users obviously directly through the ArtiosCAD Enterprise client, the browser. Non-CAD users, again, access through a web browser. And here you can see an example of an operator, and it looks like the person here is using a Microsoft Surface tablet to access some of the assets stored in the ArtiosCAD Enterprise database. Anyone can have access to that you give access. Those people can also download drawings, CAD drawings, or bill of material reports. And at the end of the demonstration, stick around, I will show you how you can give the user in WebCenter access to those templates. And in an upcoming series, we will focus exclusively on how to make these custom reports. Let's go ahead and for today's demonstration, open up ArtiosCAD Enterprise and log in as the project administrator. So here, as a project administrator, I can start my ArtiosCAD browser and I can see all my recent projects that I have created here. Creating a new project is easy as one click right there to start that new project. And the very first question that the project administrator has to answer is, which template would you like to use to create this job here in the cloud? Well, I can see I have two ArtiosCAD templates. I have one called ACAD Standard Creation, and then there's another one called ACAD Template. But more importantly, let's answer the question, where do I create these templates? Well, this is where we say goodbye to the browser for now and show you here how the administrator accessing the web version of ArtiosCAD Enterprise can create and administer those templates. So as an administrator, I can log in to the web version of ArtiosCAD Enterprise, and accessing the admin mode, I now have access to templates. Before I show you some more details around these templates, and you can see here the two templates that we saw. Actually, we saw the whole list, but these two caught my eye. Before we go into detail, I'd like to show you just quickly in a one-slide presentation what templates actually are. So again, a quick recap. Any structural designer, here a structural designer located in the US, can access through the ArtiosCAD Enterprise software using the browser the cloud-based database powered by WebCenter. Creating projects we can do with a simple click of the button. In order to create that project, we will use a template. Now, other structural designers, for example here, a colleague located in Germany, can also access that same cloud-based database through his or her ArtiosCAD Enterprise software. Now, whenever we start a new project, we don't want to recreate these projects, the details of these projects over and over again. That's where a template is a great concept to get you going really quick. Now you see the little gingerbread man here hinting to the fact that this is like a cookie cutter, right? It's a predefined set of parameters that I apply to a project. Now, none of these are actually carved in stone. They're more written in sand. For example, members, stakeholders, part of a template, can still be changed after I assign that template to a project. Because, let's face it, in the real world, things change. For certain projects, I would need to invite other members. So I need that flexibility to be able to change those template parameters after I assign them to a project, and we can. Subdirectories, such as bill of materials, CAD files, 3D graphic files, those can all be, again, predefined using this template. Security is very important as well. You do not want to give every single stakeholder access to those projects or subdirectories. Email notifications, approval cycles, tasks, workflow connections, they're all part of this template. And so typically in a real world scenario, you would create multiple templates for multiple customers, multiple suppliers, and maybe have some variants for those. And then you would simply apply those when you create a new project using ArtiosCAD Enterprise. Also notice that other stakeholders like graphic designers will be able to access this assets using plugins for Adobe Illustrator called Desktop or Studio. So I hope that kind of explained a little better the concept of templates. And so let's have a look here at this template, a CAD template. By clicking on it, you can see here a cute picture of my daughter taken when she was still very young, it looks like. So you can see, we mentioned that a template has directories, subdirectories, and here you can see that this specific template has 4 subdirectories to house bill of material files, CAD files, documents, graphics. Just going across the top of the template here, we can see that members have already been invited. Conceptual graphic designers, structural designers, groups have been defined. Security has been defined for each of these stakeholders, whether or not they are able to download upload, delete, and whatever else they want to do in this project. Notifications have been set. Approval cycles have been defined on project level. This can also be done on folder level or on file level. And some attributes have been defined as well to capture some additional metadata that I will be able to specify whenever I use this template. For example, here you can see board type, which is left blank. All the other values have been specified, but can easily be changed. Tasks have also been defined in this template. So tasks allow you to do project management. So whenever the project manager starts a project using this template, a task will automatically be started to request from a structural designer that he or she starts creating this structural file. Once that is done, automatically the graphic designer will then be tasked with creating graphics around this structure. So this looks like a pretty good template to use. So with that being said, let's head on over back to ArtiosCAD Enterprise and use that template right here when creating this new display. So this is going to be a new flavor for a shower gel display. I created one yesterday, so today we're going to create a second version. We can assign a customer to this project, and this customer has 5 different locations around the world. This one is going to be for the Ghent, Belgium headquarters. So kicking off a project right here as a project administrator, right from the comfort of ArtiosCAD Enterprise through my browser, seems to be a piece of cake. I can assign a salesperson to this. So in this case, my inside sales person is going to be the liaison to my customer. I can tag this with some additional metadata. I know this is going to be a display, so that will give me the opportunity to search later for projects with the characteristic display. And then these attributes, remember we saw earlier in the template, those are preset. But again, I can change certain things. For example, this board type should be an EB flute right here. So I can overrule certain parameters and change if I want to. So after just a few clicks of a button, I can now see in my browser my new project, which is automatically also broadcasted inside my central database across the world to my other plants or other stakeholders. So from this point forward, anybody with a browser or a tablet and a username or password will be able to access this project. Now, just a quick word on the name of the project. You can see here that the software has automatically decided to start the name of the project with job underscore followed by 03/11/21, so today's date underscore 01. So this is something you can set to have automatic naming conventions. And again, using that template, we can see here our different folders, our BOM, CAD, doc, and graphic folder. And I like to draw your attention also to the fact that the template containing tasks now have automatically kicked off a task to the structural designer with the request, using ArtiosCAD Enterprise, please create the display. Before I change roles and play the role of that structural designer, I would quickly like to show you what that project looks like from a browser standpoint. So for that, let's head on over back to our Firefox browser and logging in as the project administrator, I can get an overview of all projects right here that have been created in the cloud. And here is our job that we just created a few seconds ago. New flavor shower gel display version 2. Clicking on this job will bring me to that job where I can see the folders, I can see the tasks. Notice this first task was automatically started, so this is in progress, and it has been assigned to this structural designer. So that being said, let's go ahead and log out of the cloud and head on over back to ArtiosCAD Enterprise, where I am going to change my login from the project administrator to the structural designer. So you can see here that we have access to that database from within ArtiosCAD Enterprise, where I can change my location if I want to. After logging in, I can do that. For now, let's go ahead and not do that, but simply change my login right here. Okay, so change login. So I was going to play the role of structural designer. So that structural designer has his username and password, giving him access to that central database. And after opening up the browser, shortcut Control B, I can now see my new project right here on top of the list, 03-11-21. I can see my task assigned to me right there, so I don't have to leave ArtiosCAD Enterprise to figure out that I need to create this new display. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to close this, and I am going to open up my display store. And for this exercise, I'm going to make my life easy and download this specific display right here. So I've already done that ahead of time. So once downloaded, I can go ahead and open that from my download folder right here. And you can see here, this is sitting in my download folder. Actually, let's go back to the original one right there. And we are going to open up in the test folder right there, the ARD file. So we see that that contains all the components for that display. The software tells me that it found values in this document that do not match board values in my database because I specified an EB flute. I'm going to keep the current board values as they are. And here we can see the multiple elements making up this display. I can easily convert those elements to a canvas. And with that, the software is going to isolate each of these into different parts. So we can see here part 1, part 2, and we have a nice inventory, a bill of materials, if you will, with the main part being part 3. Notice certain parts have a multiplier, as you can see here, times 4. So I'm going to need 4 different trays. And I can also see here my other parts, right? So with that, I can easily convert this to a 3D in ArtiosCAD Enterprise, indicating the base face, and seconds later, we have our 3D of that display. Now I can see some tab locks, some T-locks right here to reinforce these trays depending on the weight of the SKU that's going to go in there. Let's Let's turn this around again so I can easily isolate those. So using my select 3D, select this one, that one, like so. Some more forward view, and we are actually not going to need that. So I'm deleting that from here. Also, you can see here part 7. This one right here, I need 8 of those. I'm going to delete that specific part, and then I'm just going to say, I'm going to rename this to 6. That looks good. And then this one we'll rename to part number 7. There you go. And then going back here to my 2D, I can simply also update this right here. So creating that POP display, piece of cake, using the store right there. So what I am going to do now is, as a structural designer, I am going to save this information in the cloud. Okay, so I'm going to take my ACD file, which is my canvas file, and I'm going to use the save as, because at this point in time, I have not saved that information yet. So if I go to my recent projects right here in 311, in my CAD folder, I can go ahead and save that information. As I save this, notice that the ArtiosCAD Enterprise software will start keeping track of revisions and versioning. I could put a description in here, so I'm going to say this is my shower gel display version 2. Length, width, depth, blank width, height, rule, area, grain, all this information is auto-populated for me. And as this consists of multiple parts, I can see these 7 different parts, I can decide to add those to my bill of materials, save those in the cloud, and assign that version number all with one click of the button. So very powerful indeed to be able to manage multi-component items right here, uploaded and ready for approval in the cloud. Let's go ahead and close this for now. Let's keep this file open. And let's head on over back to the cloud, because those files are now waiting for approval by my customer. Switching back over to my browser, the customer will receive an email invitation inviting them to this project to look at these files and approve these files. So after they log in, you notice that this screen is much more simple in the way, the look and feel, and also functionality, right? You can see here there are hardly any menus across the top, and that's by design, right? We want our customer to have a very easy interface to be able to look at these files and approve them. Remember, I never closed my files, so that's why you see the little lock. That's not going to prevent me, however, from looking at this file and approving this file. The user can also look at these files in a different fashion. For example, in a more of a condensed view right here. And as we look at these files, we can simply click on these files to open these files in the WebCenter viewer. So this gives me a comprehensive view of all the components, and I can see here in my approval that my approval has been requested. We're not going to focus on the entire approval cycle today. I am just going to approve this as is and close this. As I do this, you see it disappears off my to-do list, and I could continue looking at all these individual components. So looking at this base, for example, I would be able to not only view this in 2 dimensions, but WebCenter Viewer allows me to generate a 3D model right here on the fly to give me a very comprehensive view between the flat 2D and the folded 3D. Again, we can use tools here to measure, to create annotations, to leave comments, and then ultimately approve or reject these individual components. For now, let's assume that the customer approves all of these. So now the task that was assigned to the structural designer has come to an end. And if the structural designer is done with all the work, he can simply go to the task, right-click, and say, I am done creating this. I am going to complete this task. Again, the structural designer would typically be doing this from within the ArtiosCAD browser. As the structural designer finishes that task, automatically a next task will start. Apologies for switching over back and forth, but let's have a look at what that looks like from a graphic designer's point of view. The graphic designer, having access to this project as well, will now see a request to use these CAD files and provide artwork around those files. The graphic designer, again, will be able to see all the files and the versions that have been approved by the customer. And using Adobe Illustrator, the graphic designer has the capability here to start designing graphics around these CAD files. The graphic designer also has access to these tasks right here from within the brand new WebCenter task interface. So this right here is only supported going forward from version 20 and up. So I don't have that version installed right now, but I encourage you to have a look at this. It's a great plugin. For now, we can use the traditional WebCenter plugin to automatically place files from the WebCenter interface. So as I log in with my credentials as a graphic designer, again, I have access to these projects. And let's have a look. If I search for star 03.11 star, I can see here is my new flavor shower gel V2. So double clicking on that, I have access to these CAD files, and I can simply place these, the ACD files, so the combined elements or individual components right there, by simply selecting and placing those in my design. After doing this, the graphic designer can start adding graphics, and using the Studio toolkit, that person will be able to generate a beautiful 3D of that display. So you can see I placed the display twice now. That's not a good idea, obviously, so let me go ahead and just show you what that 3D looks like right there. And using the composite, the designer always has, and it looks like I deleted the wrong version, no worries. The designer has the ability to generate high resolution screenshots which he or she can export again right into WebCenter, right from within Adobe Illustrator. So if we go back to a project that I already completed yesterday, so that was 0310 right there, you can see a nice progression of that. And here we have some additional graphics that I uploaded, such as a nice 3D of the combined view. Here I have my Collada file. Here I have all my CAD files and my graphics. As a bonus, I promised you reports. So using the bill of materials, any stakeholder who has access to this has the ability to select some of these files and immediately using the download button, using a specified file type, create a report. Now I have not created those for now, but in an upcoming episode, stick around and we'll show you how you can easily create beautiful reports like listed here, for example, or here by simply using the download button in the interface. And that brings us to the end of today's demonstration. In this demonstration, I showed you that ArtiosCAD Enterprise really gives you a centralized database that will give all your different stakeholders access to all assets that you want to share, not just your CAD assets. All stakeholders will be able to access assets through a web browser or through the ArtiosCAD browser. It's very scalable, it's very secure, it takes care of your versioning and represents the single source of truth. It offers great searching capabilities for documents and projects to find what you're looking for, and especially in today's day and age with COVID, offline access and automatic synchronization is a great feature. In case you don't have immediate access and you're working from home without an internet access, you can still complete your work, and as soon as you connect back to the office, you'll be able to synchronize automatically all the assets that you worked on. So with that, thank you for joining.